Hello, fourth graders, and welcome to Spirit Day, Disney Attire Day. So I'm wearing my Disney attire with our Cinderella Castle in the background. Hope you're having a really good day. We started a new book, The Fantastic Secret of Owen, Jester, and it's kind of a mystery story. A little whimsy, a little fun, and a little mystery. I think we're going to like this book. There's I would call it unexpected occurrences. We are on chapter 4, page 21. Shh. Owen pressed a finger to his lips and motioned for Travis and Stumpy to duck behind the barn door. He peeked through a crack in the warped boards. Viola was tromping across the yard, swinging a Girl Scout canteen with one hand and pushing at her glasses with the other. "Dang," Owen whispered. "She's coming this way." Travis jabbed a finger up toward the hayloft. Owen nodded. The three boys dashed across the dirt floor of the barn and scurried up the rickety ladder to the loft. They flopped down on their stomachs, their cheeks pressed against the hay-covered floor, and waited. "I know y'all are in there, Owen." Viola's irritating voice drifted into the barn. Travis poked Owen with an elbow, and Stumpy made a little snort noise. Owen flapped a hand at both of them and mouthed. Viola's sandals made a slapping noise as she entered the barn and stopped at the bottom of the ladder. "I know y'all are in here." The irritating voice slithered up the ladder and circled around Owen. "Dang, that girl sure was annoying." "What are y'all doing?" The voice pounced Owen on the back of the head. The slapping sandals moved away from the ladder and shuffled over to the corner of the barn. "What are y'all doing in the building?" Owen lifted his head the teeny tiniest bit and peered over the edge of the loft. Viola was rummaging through the stuff that he and Travis and Stumpy had spent all morning gathering, rolls of chicken wire. "I know what y'all are building," she said. Travis pursed his lips and glared down at Viola. Stumpy's eyes grew big and round as he looked at Owen in a "what now" kind of way. Owen crawled to the rear of the loft until he got to a milk crate full of old tractor parts. He grabbed a greasy rubber fan belt, a handful of rusty nuts and bolts, and a broken gauge of some sort. Then he traveled back to the edge of the loft and began flinging the things down to the barn floor, trying to get as close to Viola as possible without actually hitting her. The bolts made pinging noises as they hit garden tools and engine parts and ricocheted off the wheelbarrow and the lawnmower. The gauge skidded over the dirt floor and hit the wall of the barn with a crash, followed by the tinkle of broken glass. The fan belt landed right on Viola's sandal. She jerked her foot away and gazed coolly up at Owen. "Y'all are building something for that sad old frog," she said, giving her glasses a nudge up the bridge of her nose with her thumb. "His name is Thule, and he's not sad," Owen called down from the loft. Viola picked up the fan belt and twirled it around her finger. "Frogs don't have names." "Says who?" Travis hollered down at Viola. Stumpy pushed some hay off the edge of the loft. "Yeah, says who," he said. Viola brushed hay out of her hair and glared up at the boys. "Says me, and anyone else on the planet with half a brain." She tossed the fan belt into the pile of chicken wire. "Frogs don't have names and don't want names. Frogs want to be frogs and live where frogs are supposed to live." "Oh, yeah?" Travis said. "Oh, yeah?" Stumpy said. "Your mother's calling you," Owen said. As soon as the words left his mouth, Owen's stomach clenched up into a ball of angry. Why did he have to go and say that again? First of all, he said that all the time. Second of all, Viola never even blinked an eye when he said it. So what was the point? And third of all, Viola's mother never called her. Viola's mother never did anything but sit on the porch in her bathrobe looking at magazines. The only time Owen had ever seen Viola's mother step 1 foot off her porch was the time she went to the flea market and came back with a bunch of tiki torches. Viola had told him the tiki torches were for a Hawaiian luau party. Owen had peeked through the hedge every day for nearly a week to see the Hawaiian luau party, but all he ever saw was a pile of tiki torches and a barbecue grill full of rainwater. Viola pushed aside the tomato stakes with a toe of her sandal. She inspected a tangled roll of baling wire. She squinted through her thick glasses at the rusty door hinges. "Y'all are building a cage," she said. Owen hurried down the ladder and grabbed the door hinges from her. He jammed them into his pocket and said, "Go away." "Yeah, go away." Travis jumped off the last rung of the ladder and stood between Viola and the pile of stuff, his feet spread, his arms folded, his chin stuck out. Stumpy jumped from halfway down the ladder and landed on the barn floor with an oomph. "You don't really need hinges, you know," Viola nodded toward the baling wire. "And staples would work better than that wire." "Staples are for paper, you ninny," Travis said. "Yes," Stumpy said. "Staples are for paper, you ninny." But Owen stayed quiet. He was trying to keep his irritation from getting the best of him and turning him into a foot-stomping baby. But it was hard because he knew Viola was right about the staples. And he knew she didn't mean staples like the little ones for paper. She meant those heavy-duty kind like his father used to staple plastic over the windows in the winter at their old house on Tupelo Road. "I know where there's a staple gun," Viola said, grabbing her canteen off the hay bale. She turned to Owen and looked smug. Owen hated it when Viola looked smug. More than anything, he wanted to say, "Where?" But he knew that Viola wanted him to say "where," which was why she was looking so smug. So instead of saying "where," Owen said "rocket." Rocket was the secret code word that he and Travis and Stumpy had made up to ditch Viola. They had agreed that if one of them said rocket, they would all run as fast as they could to their hiding place down by the train tracks. So that's what they did. They ran as fast as they could out of the barn, across the yard, down the path, through the woods, and around the pond. They crossed to the other side of the tracks, pushed their way through the scrubby bushes, and crawled up under the branches of an enormous rotten oak tree that had fallen years ago and landed against a pine tree, forming a perfect teepee. The boys were gasping and laughing and high-fiving each other when Pete and Leroy came sniffing through the brush, tails wagging, nose sniffing. "Oh," Owen said, "I hope Viola didn't follow them." Owen crawled out of the tree teepee and looked around. No sign of Viola. Good, he thought. Then the time had come. He was going to tell Travis and Stumpy about the thing that had fallen off the train. All right, stop there. Tomorrow we'll begin chapter 5, page 28. Thanks so much, fourth graders. Hope you're doing well and staying safe. Okay, see you tomorrow. Bye now.